We are dealing with another price shock tonight. The cost of fuel is staying well above the $2 mark right across the country. Our finance editor, Gemma Acton, joins us now. Gem, when I say well above the $2 mark, what's causing this ongoing price surge at the moment?
Oh, this is really a story of the global oil markets. There's pressure on both the supply and the demand side of it. So we are seeing oil prices around the world back to where they were in about November last year. On the supply side, Saudi Arabia cut output in July by about 1 million barrels a day. That has had a huge impact. Since then, we've seen the price go up by around $20. And then on the demand side, it's actually staying a lot more resilient than expected. China's economic recovery has been slower than we imagined, but nonetheless, the demand has not fallen away, mostly because major economies like the US and India, demand's still very strong there. And we've just had the Northern Hemisphere summer where travel really picks up, so flights and car trips. What
are the analysts saying then? Is it likely to come down, or are we staying high, particularly if the Saudis have cut production?
Exactly, that's the thing. So unfortunately, we're completely at the mercy of Saudi Arabia and to some extent Russia, who are moving in tandem with Saudi Arabia, albeit reducing at slightly lower amounts because they have less to cut back on. But there's no indication that Saudi intends to release that supply anytime soon, even though it is damaging their finances in quite a clear way. In fact, just recently, Saudi extended this supply cut till the end of the year, and most analysts think it's going to continue well into early next year as well. Look, there might be some pullback on the demand side if China slows down again, if the European slowdown really gathers pace. But for now, no, the expectation is that oil prices will stay around $90 to $100.
We've been cutting back on what we spend, but this is a forced spend. Does it have an impact on inflation?
Yes, and we saw that very clearly overnight in the US. So for the first time in August, for more than a year in the US, inflation actually started to rise again, and more than half of that increase was directly attributable to rise in petrol prices. Here in Australia, if you look at the last few consumer price inflation reports, fuel has actually been coming down. It's been a detractor from the overall inflation number. We should expect that to start reversing pretty soon. Now, when the Reserve Bank looks at inflation, they look at two figures, one that includes petrol and one that excludes petrol, because it is something that's volatile, it jumps around a lot. So they will be able to isolate that and look through it to make policy decisions if they need to. But nonetheless, we should expect it to be a feature in upcoming inflation reports.
Well, everything you're saying sounds like it's going to stay this way for a bit as well. Yeah. All right, Gem, thank you.
Thank you.